She looked at the guard. She never said a word, just thought it, "You are handsome." And right then, he smirked. It wasn't random, it happened to thousands. Because this guard wasn't just watching the crowd, he was listening to your thoughts. Guards are known for their stillness, but one, known only as Callum, became known for something else. He reacted to things no one said out loud. People swore he responded to private thoughts. Tourists joked he had telepathy. But what began as rumor turned into a disturbing pattern. And what investigators found next shook even the Crown's confidence. The first report came from a French tourist in 2022. She stood outside the palace and thought to herself, "What if I blew him a kiss?" Before she could act, the guard tilted his head slightly, as if answering her question. She laughed it off, until 3 weeks later, a woman from Germany posted a video. "I thought about tripping him." He immediately stepped back. Coincidence? Maybe, but then it kept happening. And every time, it was Callum. He was assigned to Gate Post Alpha, where the most tourists passed. Dozens of videos surfaced. A boy thinks, "I wonder what his name is." Right pointing arrow, Callum touches his nameplate. A girl thinks he looks tired. Right pointing arrow, he yawns, despite strict posture rules. A tourist thinks, "Smile if you can hear me." Right pointing arrow, Callum smiles. And then it got weirder. A psychic visiting from India stood 10 feet away. She meditated silently, projecting a single word, "rain." Within seconds, Callum twitched and looked to the sky. It was a clear day. 30 minutes later, rain fell. Was it precognition or a mind reader cloaked in ceremonial red? Reporters caught wind of it. A YouTuber named Toby challenged Callum. He stood near the gate and thought his pin code. Silently, over and over, then held up a sign, "If you know my code, look left twice." Callum did. When Toby posted the video, it blew up. 7.8 million views in 2 days. That's when the government stepped in. Callum's records were requested, but something was strange. His file had only 3 lines. Name, Callum in unit, in classified. Entry date, access restricted. No age, no prior duty, no next of kin. Even fellow guards didn't know who he was. One said, "He never speaks, never eats with us. He just shows up on post." Always already there, the ministry ordered a psychological evaluation. During testing, things escalated. When the psychologist thought, "Let's start easy," Callum replied out loud, "Sure, easy's fine." The doctor hadn't spoken. One test involved silent flashcards. Callum passed everyone without looking. Even guessed the examiner's childhood pet correctly. Never mentioned, never written. Classified specialists were brought in. Callum was transferred to an underground wing. Electrodes, scans, memory tests. What they discovered, Callum's brain patterns were unlike anything seen. Sections of his temporal lobe lit up before a question was asked. Researchers called it pre-receptive cognition combined with extreme social pattern detection, or actual telepathy. He wasn't just reading body language. He was accessing intentions. But there was a catch. He could only read tourists. Locals, soldiers, royals, nothing. Just visitors. Why? Some believed his condition triggered on foreign neural patterns. Others believed something darker, that Callum was part of a controlled experiment. One leak from inside the palace claimed, "He's not the only one." Just the first one to slip up. The public never learned the full results of his testing. Because just 72 hours later, Callum vanished. His post was replaced, his name removed, his footage erased, every video tagged #MindReadingGuard, blocked, scrubbed, copyright claimed by Office of Crown Security and Behavioral Research. That department doesn't officially exist. Tourists kept asking about him. One tried to hand another guard a note. "Where's the mind reader?" The guard didn't flinch, but later she received the message. Slipped into her coat, typed, unsigned. It read, "Callum sees you, but he's not supposed to anymore." Later that year, a podcast guest who claimed to be a former royal researcher said, Callum was recruited. Not born with it, trained for it. Using experimental tech fused with neural implants. He didn't just read thoughts, he was fed them. When asked what that meant, he said, every tourist he read, the system collected data. Thoughts, fears, patterns. It wasn't for defense, it was for control. He died 3 weeks later in a car crash. Now, sometimes at odd hours, tourists claim to see a figure watching the gates. Not in uniform, but standing still, eyes following silently. One girl claimed, I thought, I miss you, Callum. And he nodded once.
Está para lo que no vibra, pero tiene que hacer que no vibre el de arriba.
Lucky is not going forward into the back. Yeah, it's a crowd, yeah. Show my pass. Sorry. Look at this.
האלכסון, להיכנס פה לחצר בפנים, יש גם איזה שומר עומד, לפעמים הם עושים איזה חילוף קטן שם. לדעתי הסוס השני יותר
מתחום בואי נעמוד פה, ככה, וטיפה בואי, תקשיבו לי.
צריך לצלם באלכסון.
בדיוק. איתי, אתה איתי, בוא נצטלם. אבל אני לא אומרת. שירה, תהיי איתי, אני רוצה אבל פה, כדי שאני נחזיק פה, אני צריכה שתפעלה לדבר. אבל עכשיו אני לא רואים. איזה ויכוח.
What if the real weapon isn't force, but foresight? What if the palace once housed a soldier who didn't need orders? Because he knew what you would do, before even you did? Maybe Callum was the first of many. Or maybe he's still here, listening. Comment, I thought of him, if this story gave you chills. Share this video if you dare stand in front of the god and think something dangerous. Subscribe to Roy Vlogs for more shocking secrets buried beneath the surface of tradition.